Here we are, day 8, talking about either a project I'm going to start or I'm working on. So I'm one of those people who starts too many projects, and it's kind of tough to choose from which one to talk about. Because I think a lot of them are interrelated. Rarely do I look at a project just for a task, at least not the ones I think are interesting to talk about. So I am a software developer by trade. I've been programming for 40 some odd years. And I am wanting to actually get into making phone apps and whatnot because what they put out there is terrible, particularly when you start looking at the way it's structured, the functionality, the UI, and then the accessibility. I mean, it's all terrible. Um, Maybe people think they're pretty, but they just don't work well. Um, so I'd like to understand why that is, particularly when you got these devices that blow away the computers that I was using back in the 80s. Um, and we got much more work done on them. So I think it's a lot about mindset and what you can do with a phone. So that's one thing I'm looking to get into. I am a musician. I play guitar, learning piano, and I I want to learn how to record that stuff on a computer and do mixing and such. I'm actually working on my intro music for my YouTube. Um, I got a nice little riff that will last about 5-10 seconds, and that's all we need. And it's going to be fun to tackle that in a digital audio workstation, a DAW. I'm going to be using Logic on a Mac because it's one of the few that are accessible. In the Windows world, you have Reaper, and it supposedly works on a Mac too. I've not heard a whole lot of that one. And then Audacity, which has recently become more accessible, and Goldwave. And those are the only ones I really know about. So I'm looking for something a little more fancy. Excuse me. So I bought Logic. At some point, I'm going to have to tackle video editing a little bit. I don't want to pay $300 for Final Cut, and it's the only one I am aware of that it has even the slightest bit of accessibility in it. Um, so, I'm planning to bring these skills to my YouTube efforts, be it teaching, be it production. Somewhere in there, those skills are going to show up. So let's see what else. I actually want to get into woodworking. That is something I wish I had done when I had vision, and I think the transition would have been easier because I wouldn't have to be dealing with uh, look at this schematic on the screen. And it's like, oh, stop it! Actually, give me information. Uh, but anyway, I think woodworking would be nice because I got a bunch of amps in here that need to be put in a frame that I can get to them more easily with the controls and ports. But I want to build a guitar. And that takes some skill or some fine detail in listening to luthier trying to explain what they do. They do a very terrible job. They're depending on you to see it. And even if you talk to them in person, they are unable to describe it, which is a shame because I'm of the opinion if you can't verbalize it, you don't know it. Uh, You really don't. Um, and I had to learn this lesson myself when I transitioned from being a very high partial, as we call ourselves, who have reduced vision. It's not great, but we function very well in a sighted world where most people don't realize we have a vision problem. And I, when I changed over, I discovered I had to learn verbal skills that I was missing. And I like to think it comes out just whenever I speak to and tell somebody. I am quite specific, and it might be overwhelming because I know if I give you directions, I can't tell you it's that McDonald's on the corner. I'm going to tell you it's at Street X, and you turn west or left, and I'll give you both because people are directionally challenged. Um, so all these things I'm trying to bring together to use in in a constructive way, because at some point this YouTube is going to be my outlet to finding my business. Um, and I have a feeling many, if not all, of these skills I'm talking about, these projects that are going to build skills, they will be a part of it. At least I'm hoping. But anyways, that is my rambling about projects that I'd like to do and want to do. In the short term, my intro music will be a project. Until next time.